All right, good evening. It's January 20th, 2026. The time is 5 p.m. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Argyle ISD Board of Trustees. At this time, we will determine if a quorum is present.
Leon McDade present.
Josh Westrom present.
Rich McDowell present.
Leanne Arthur present.
Matt Slayton present.
Craig Hawksworth present.
And I, Sam Slayton, present. We do have a quorum established. Under the authority of the Texas Government Code 551, Subchapter D, the board will now go into closed session. It is still 5 p.m. for 551.074, personnel matters and public officers, 551.082, student and employee disciplinary matter or complaint, 551.072, deliberation regarding real property. Thank you. Good evening. Time is 6:05 p.m. We have returned from executive session. At this time, we are going to have our Argyle High School come up here and help lead us in the pledges. Drake.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Mr. Humphreys. I'm one of the assistant principals over at Argyle. I'm super excited for our Circle of Friends program to be here and lead you guys in the pledge, and I'd like to welcome them up individually. Some of our teachers also to introduce themselves before we lead you guys in the pledge.
Excellent, thank you.
Hi, my name is Talon Kindred. I'm a student at Argyle High School, and one thing that I love about Argyle is the awesome programs I get to be a part of, like Circle of Friends.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sam, and I really enjoy being at Argyle because I like my classmates. They're very nice, and I like Circle of Friends too.
Thank you, Sam.
Hi, my name is Elijah. I'm in 11th grade, and I like sports in Argyle High School.
Excellent. Welcome, Elijah.
Thank you.
My name is Natasha Fox. I'm a sponsor of Circle of Friends, and I love getting to come spend my days with these guys every day.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Marie Morrison. I'm also a sponsor of Circle of Friends, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right.
Whenever y'all are ready. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Great job, guys.
All right. Thank you again for Argyle High School, our Circle of Friends, helping us with our pledges today. All right. This time we'll have Mr. Hawksworth lead us in our opening prayer.
Dear Lord, thank you so much for all you do for us each and every day. Things we're aware of, things we're not aware of. Please be with us as a board and as administration. Guide our decisions to do things and treat others in the way that would honor you. Also help us get through the school year. We're on the home stretch. Be with our students and our staff and give them a calmness and a peace each and every day. We love you, Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Hawksworth.
Thank you. All right, so it is January, so we get to celebrate across the state of Texas Board Appreciation Month, and we always enjoy doing this. I know there are lots of goodies in front of you. We also have some posters and things made by all of our campuses. I think several of our principals are here. We enjoyed seeing the portraits. I'm not sure who made the poster over there through the portraits. High school. So if you haven't taken an opportunity there to see the portraits, we have had a good time looking at those. They also have some great cards. I know Hilltop provided some cookies, but just an opportunity for us to come together publicly and say thank you to our Board of Trustees. They work tirelessly behind the scenes in our communities. They really do a great job of representing our communities, their constituents across the district. and many of them are also parents, but they hold full-time jobs, and they do this in conjunction with that, and this takes a lot of time. And so I know I personally appreciate each and every one of them. They do a great job advocating for our community, and we spend a lot of time together in different areas and different ways, but appreciate y'all very much. I know this year's theme is Our Future is Public. And so we talk a lot about the story of public schools, and Argyle is a special story, and it's special because of the places that you serve, but also keeping the high expectations in this district. And so we greatly appreciate that. But we do have our 7 trustees, and I would like to celebrate you all this evening. I'm going to, if you don't mind, take just a moment to read a proclamation and resolution in honor of our Argyle ISD Board of Trustees. Whereas the mission of public schools is to meet the educational needs of all children and to empower them to become competent, productive contributors to a democratic society and an ever-changing world. And whereas local school board members are elected by their community members to do what's best for students. And whereas local school board members work closely with parents, educational professionals, and other community members to create the educational vision we want for our students. And whereas school board members are responsible for ensuring the structure that provides a solid foundation for our school system, and whereas local school board members are strong advocates for public education and are responsible for communicating the needs of the school district to the public and the public's expectations to the district. Now therefore, I, Courtney Carpenter, do hereby declare my appreciation to the members of the Argyle ISD Board and proclaim January 2026 as School Board Recognition Month in Argyle, Texas. I urge all citizens to join me in recognizing the dedication, hard work of our local school board members, and in working with them to mold an education system that meets the needs of today's and tomorrow's children. So, officially recognize you all. Thank you so very much for what you do, and would like to get up and take a picture. And I think y'all need to check what's in your bags real quick, please.
Thank you, Dr.
Another crown.
And it's not a crown.
It's just for your
Not a
birthday.
crown.
All right, thank you.
You might need it in this cold weekend coming up. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
All right, let's make sure we get a picture with the board. Some swag.
Are we taking a swag with us?
Whatever you want to hold up.
So we have to do our swag or just the bag?
Whatever y'all want. Bag's good.
Just the bag.
What they're going to be in their future? There's a future storm chaser in there. We always enjoy celebrating you all, but January is your month. So.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. January is your month.
Second.
Oh, here comes the motion. Here, that was
Got a quick
quick.
second over here.
Yeah, and you're not
That
getting a
was,
second from me.
that was quick down there.
So he does know how to do that.
Yeah, he does. Had
I hope
no
your wife is
clue.
watching you right now. You're just pouring salt in the wound, aren't you?
Oh, God. Just trying to help, sir.
You read Robert's rules over last month. All right, just trying to get some
There we go.
real estate up here. All right, we do have public forum now. And we're gonna move into, I'm gonna do my reading. We have 2 people that are signed up to speak this evening. So here we go. All right, well we're now moving into the public forum portion of tonight's meeting. Please note that board policy requires speakers to sign up in person before the meeting is called to order. During this portion of the meeting, Board members will listen to comments, but as the designated spokesperson, only the president may respond to the speaker if needed and refer concerns to the appropriate administrator. Speakers can comment on agenda items, but trustees will not be able to discuss the items until they are before the board during the meeting. Board policy BED local provides the presiding officer the ability to adjust the time allotted per speaker for effective meeting management. Pursuant to that policy, an individual's comments to the board at tonight's meeting shall not exceed 5 minutes. The presiding officer may reduce the allotted time for each individual to speak to no less than 1 minute for effective meeting management. Speakers are not allowed to receive time from other individuals. Tonight, each speaker will receive 5 minutes. Specific complaints about individual district personnel are to be processed through the district's grievance policies as set out in district policies DBA, F&G, and/or GF. Speakers are not permitted to refer to individual students or employees by name during the public comment period. Additionally, if you have a pending grievance that may come before the board in a level 3 hearing, please refrain from addressing the topic of your grievance except through the grievance process. Per board policy BED and this board's operating procedures, the board will not allow disruption of the board meeting by members of the public if after one warning from the presiding officer, any person continues to disrupt the meeting by words or actions, the person will be removed from the meeting. All right. Okay. What's that?
4 more times. You have to read that.
Oh, okay, let's start a countdown. All right. Thank you, Mr. Hawksworth. There's so many.
Just reminding you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Maybe 4. That could be the last one right there. Ooh.
How's that? Never mind. Go.
Okay, all right. All right, our first speaker tonight, Angela Martinez. All right, good evening.
Yeah.
Well,
He's really helpful. He'll let you know.
Mr. Slayton's here. He will keep you on the rails. So when you do have 1 minute left, Mr. Slayton will let you know you have 1 minute left. But as soon as you're ready to begin, the floor is yours. So welcome.
Okay, thank you. At the last meeting that we had, that was, I guess, for this side of town, poor Mr. Westrom got cornered by me at the end of the meeting, and we talked for a while afterward. Very patient, but I'm gonna start this off by saying it's kind of important. So obviously my husband and I well, you don't know this, but we just paid over like a $36,000 tax bill. One of the line items, over $25,000 going to AISD. As of 2 weeks ago, I no longer have an AISD student. I had to pull her from school. So these are just some of the things I'm hoping that are gonna be discussed coming up very soon, that we don't have to keep our kids in limbo. One is, she's on the bus over an hour every morning. I personally think that's absolutely ridiculous, and that's only when she's remembered. She's forgotten about quite frequently. The poor guy that runs the bus department is an angel. He knows who I am. Unfortunately, he picks up my phone calls every single time, but she is lost, forgotten about. It's been a horrible, the app is, I know it's trying, you're trying, it does not work. It is wrong all the time. I just think that in the busing also, that have you guys thought about how you're gonna deal with this construction that's starting this year? It's gonna be a huge issue. If she's already on the bus an hour now, what is it gonna be with road construction? I mean, we all deal with it every day. It's a nightmare. I just hope that you guys are thinking about this and you're gonna let us know soon the plans to deal with the transportation up 377 with the road construction. Another one is curriculum. I'm a little frustrated. I have a child that is still in LASD. I cannot bring him to AISD. I want to more than anything. I do not like having to drive my children in 2 different directions, but there's not a curriculum in AISD in the elementary school program to match LASD. He is in the Spanish immersion program, and if you're not familiar with it, it is phenomenal. My daughter, who is now in 7th grade, which will come up in a little bit, is very sad that she's not in school right now. She's crying every single day. She wants to go back to her friends, very popular, not happy with me at the moment, but she is not even getting credit for Spanish in school. She's in 7th grade. She is auditing 7th grade Spanish because she already has high school credit for Spanish. And so she's not in PE because she has early out for dance. Her first class is Spanish, she gets no credit for it. She does a couple of classes, has lunch, and she's gone. and then she's on the bus an hour in the morning. So until all this gets addressed, I want her in school. I paid $25,000 to AISD. I just feel that I need to get more from AISD. I know you guys are trying. I know there's been a horrible growth crunch, but there's still a lot more to go. And I just hope that we're gonna hear from parents, because in our neighborhood, I speak with a lot of the parents. They don't really have a lot of high school kids yet in middle school. There's a lot more elementary school kids in our neighborhood, but they talk to me and we speak. And these are all concerns. It's not just coming from me, it's coming from our neighborhood. But I'd like to see more at the elementary level. Like, I would love to have him in AISD. I hate having to go all the way to Wellington every day, and then back. And then when my daughter doesn't get on the bus, now I'm having to drive her up to the middle school and then come back. It's like almost a 2-hour circle. That's crazy. So anyway, I just would like for that as a curriculum, just to start thinking more about foreign language. And the kids, it's amazing, they learn it. And the last part is, which is what I cornered him about, and I feel so bad, but it's still an issue, is our 3 neighborhoods of Pepper Creek, Montalcino, and 418 are being bused to the far north when this whole redistricting thing happens, when we drive right by this one right here.
1 minute.
Okay, thank you. That's it. It's really just, I hope that, I know that at least what it said, that it's not finalized, that the redistricting plans are not finalized. But I find it a little absurd that we have to pass this school right here to drive all the way to the far north, especially with the road construction. If you can't tell, I'm not a fan of road construction, and I know it's coming just because I've lived around it forever. But that's it. Those are just a few things I just wanted to address with you guys. I don't know how to do it individually, so I just figured I'd just do it all here. No complaints, I mean, not in a bad way, just things to think about, and hope that there are people that are out there that are wanting this information soon, so that we can all make decisions, because she really wants to go back in the 4th quarter. Actually, she'd want to go back tomorrow. But thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and our last speaker this evening, Justin Ford. All right. Good evening, Mr. Ford. You know the rules of the road,
Yep.
so the floor is yours.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to introduce myself to everyone, either in the room, watching online, and let you know that as of last week, I submitted my application to run for school board for place 1 for this election. Just as a quick intro to everyone who may not know me, I live in the Harvest community with my wife and 3 kids. My wife's a teacher at JRE currently. I have 3 kids, graduating class of 2031, 33, and 35. So a pretty even spread there. They're all in activities, and they can't drive themselves, so it's busy, right? I've been an active member of the community since moving here in 2019. Coaching youth sports through multiple organizations. I volunteered through the Watchdogs program, both at West and JRE. Also actively supporting and leading the different groups at the Well Community Church on 407. I volunteer my time also to support the Advisory and Planning Committee for the high school back in 2022, and then the Bond Planning Committee both for 24 and 25. Basically, I submitted my application to run in an effort to continue leading the whole district through all the change and growth and everything that's coming. We're all really well aware of what's happening. There's just more coming, right? And also just want to be able to provide open, honest communication to everyone in the district, online, in person, whatever method I can, and be as, I guess, reachable as possible, right? Regardless of where I live or where my kids attend school year to year, I plan to do my best to, just address all the unique challenges we face and be a representative of everyone in the community, from the far north, south, my own community, the unincorporated areas, and everything. Happy to meet with anyone to answer questions about myself or what I plan to do as part of the school board, or just hear concerns about the district in general. I appreciate it for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They did tell you it's 1 meeting a month, right?
Is that right?
Just one.
Bare minimum.
All right. Thank you. Sorry, you've been here 12 years. Learn the rules. All right, that closes our public forum here. We'll have consent items. We may have donations. Okay, and for January of 2026, donations, A, B, C. Fiscal year 2026, number 5, $6,676.91 for football sweats. A, B, C. Fiscal year 2026, number 6, $3,873.99 for boys track apparel. All right, and then CompuDopt Incorporated, $500. JRE, 100 computer mice. And Argyle Band Boosters, $20,000 for the color guard position. Total January donations, $31,050.90. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on any of the consent items? If not, entertain a motion to approve the consent items as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Matthew Slayton, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, Mr. McDowell with the second. All right, any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye.
Raise your hand.
Raise your hand, Josh, please. Thank you. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Okay. Get to move on to construction. Mr. Cohen?
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I have two reports for you tonight. We'll start with construction, and then I've got a bond update for you afterwards. So starting with the stadium, I've got an overall shot for you here. I think you've seen this before. All the red seats are in, all the red panels on the grandstands are in, so they're kind of wrapping up finishes in the press box. So this view is not going to really change a whole lot from month to month now as they wrap everything up. Another shot from the top of the grandstands looking at our video board. The district logo that you see on the video board there, that is approximately the size on the board of the logo that will be out on the face of the press box. In case anyone's wondering, it's going to be, that's about 24 feet there, 24 feet tall. This picture is one of our two break rooms. We have one on each occupied level of the press box. I think this is the lower level, so this the coaching level, PA, timekeeper, scorekeeper. This would be their little break area where they can get drinks or snacks during the game. This picture is of a large hospitality suite we've got up on the second floor. So this would be probably board members' suite frequently, I'm sure. Special guests and the like. This picture is of our video production room. So this is kind of where all the magic's going to happen behind the scenes. So there'll be 4 to 6, 7 people in this room. They're the ones that are going to make the video board work, the scoring work, run the ads, run the replays, stadium lights, anything technology-wise that happens is going to happen out of this room. Picture of the indoor activity center. They are complete with wall panels on this end. There's only half of them in this photo, but that has been completed since this was taken. Shot another angle, north side of that. You can see here in the foreground where we've got some parking lot that we've demoed out in preparations to replace that. And what we've done is we've widened that drive. This came up a few months ago, and we talked about it at a board meeting where it was difficult, where we had to make a U-turn to get into that parking lot while we had the other drive closed. So this will improve that turn when it's complete, and we're just currently waiting on site plan approval from the town so we can put this back in. Look ahead, getting all the technology in that production room you saw, getting all that finished, and then starting testing. I think they're going to start testing the video board tomorrow, so we'll probably see a lot of different images on that throughout the day. Interior finishes, they're completing those now, getting into punch list and touch-up of those. They did walk and create some punch lists this morning with the architect, so that'll be ongoing till they get all those complete. And still working with the town to get all of our final inspections. I think we may have 3 or 4 buildings final this week. They won't issue COs. That's just how the town works until we close out the indoor activity center, which will be the last one. And then they have to do a final site walk. And that's the last piece for the town before they actually give you those COs. So all of that should be happening over the course of the next couple of weeks. I hope to maybe not have a report on this for you next month, other than to say it's done. And there's just a reminder of the milestones. Substantial completion in January, that's going to be very close. It may actually roll into February before they achieve that substantial completion, which is kind of the contractual goal that they have. Moving on to the middle school. Here we've got an overall site looking north, or overall shot of the site looking north. They have completed the shot put areas that you see in the foreground in front of the tennis courts there. So they'll actually be able to coach from the center of those two, so that one coach can actually coach two students at the same time, the way that we've set this up. This shot's looking at our building, kind of looking northwest. They've got, the building is in the dry, and everywhere you see the white on the roof there, that's the final sheet, or the cap sheet as we refer to it. So anywhere it's black, it's in the dry, so it's not going to get wet if it rains, but they haven't got the final layer on, and that has been progressing, and that will wrap up this month. Same angle, just a little lower shot, so you can see the masonry completed all the way around the classroom wing here. The areas you see in gray is going to get a metal panel in there, and they are currently starting to work on those. This shot is of our band hall, one of the band hall spaces inside. What we're actually looking at here, this pocket that you see, that is where all of our winger practice rooms will go. So that's a soundproof room where you can have one-on-one practice, and you really can't hear that, so it doesn't disturb the rest of the group outside of the main band hall while they're doing that practice. This shot, we're looking in the kitchen, so we're looking hanging from the ceiling. You can see our two exhaust hoods installed, and then in the background, that's the walk-in cooler and freezer that's been installed. Those are always items that have to go in very early just due to their physical size. This is just a shot of a typical classroom interior. They're continuing to work their way through the classrooms, but they have started tape and bed in most of those. I believe at the end of last week they got the last framing inspection, so they'll actually be closing up both sides of all those walls now. Here are the bleachers at our football field have been installed. We have seats for approximately 750 on one side. And so these have some stairs and ramps left to go, but the bulk of it's in, and there in the center at the top is the space where we have a prefabricated press box that will be coming in and set on top of there, just a small press box. Look ahead, we're looking at getting the roofing complete all the way to the cap sheet done. Interior finishes in the gyms and fine arts will be ongoing. Complete the glass around the perimeter of the building, that's nearly 100% complete, and where it's not, most of the areas have been temporaried in for now. And then looking at making our permanent power connection, all of our easements and things just got approved for that, so now we're now looking to get on CoServe's construction schedule. So that gets main power to the building with completion of that work. And that will probably take about a month to get them on site to do that.
Hey Jeff, I know it's ticky-tacky, but
yes,
we've got some time until completion.
Mm-hmm.
So for our buildings that have names on them, maybe Pogue or Mr. Herron could get the names actually put in those slides.
It takes beating us over the head a few times to, it's middle school to us, middle school 1. We've known it for so long that way. It's tough, but we'll try.
Awesome.
And I will try when I
and
speak
I will
of it.
Bring up playground equipment or elevators again.
Okay, it's a deal.
All right.
And then here we just got our reminder slide, some of our key milestone dates, and so we're still tracking to achieve a July 26 substantial completion. Michael Ball Elementary School.
There we go.
Or number 5.
Look at that.
Learn quick sometimes. So this is on the same side as the middle school. So there's not a lot to see in these photos, but in here the building pad has been prepped. They've done the moisture conditioning, brought it back up to grade, capped it with the select fill. On the right you can see an excavator starting to work there on some utilities, the red excavator. And the site's actually very torn up right now. There's actually a lot of work going on since these photos were taken. And it's just a reverse angle of the same. You can see all the utility materials have been delivered and stored, so those are going in the ground now. And look ahead, continuing on our underground utilities, working on underground electrical. We're going to start concrete pier drilling, and then steel erection. We've got all that steel in production. It's starting to be fabricated. We're getting pictures of stored materials, so it's going to be coming out real soon and start to see that structure going up. The goal is to try to get as much of that heavy work with the cranes and the large equipment done before we have to open the middle school, so that we're not trying to manage that while we've got all the traffic and the parents and the kids, and keep it safer. And then some key milestone dates just that we'll track throughout, from permitting all the way through substantial completion. So currently we're tracking for a February, mid-February substantial completion on that. Any questions on any of those?
So you hoping to be dried in by the time the middle school opens?
It's pretty close.
Yeah, it's going to be close. I don't know if we'll be dried in on this one by the time it opens, but we'll be making good progress getting close.
This year.
For middle school.
Yeah.
Tell that to Matt.
How's that? So next I have just an update on the 2025 bond. Since normally we don't bring anything and present to you until we're in construction, we thought we'd bring you something, just kind of tell you where we're at with everything that's in the bond, because there's a whole lot that happens before we get to those construction reports. And just to start with, we wanted to put this out there. I don't know that everybody knows this or not, but we've got a subcommittee that was formed consisting of 3 of our board members that we work with. We meet on a regular basis to discuss all the construction issues as we're working through there. And this has been going on for several months now, and that just helps us support what we need in getting answers and decisions, and hopefully it helps you all with transfer of some knowledge at a more detailed level than just a quick once-a-month report that I give you. So start off with Proposition A, our facilities, infrastructure, and renovations. This was the amount approved in the bond. This has not all been sold yet, but that is what was approved for Proposition A. Starting off, we've got capital improvements projects at Hilltop, 6th Grade Center, and 377 that we identified. And so we've broken them into phases. We didn't sell all of the funds that were allocated or budgeted for those projects. So we looked at the scope, determined what needs we really need to do now, and made sure we got that in the first sale. And so we've been working on that. Our construction documents are in progress on all those. We're probably at about 90% complete on those drawings. Probably within a matter of a week or two, they could be 100% and out on the street. We're just working through a few last minute changes there, and determining scope, maybe determining some alternates that we need to bid on that. We've got a projected start date of summer 26 on these, and projected completion date of fall 27. I think that should say fall 26 for phase 1. So that must be a typo that I had. So here are just a few details for you on what was included in our phase 1, and then I've just referred the rest as phase 2. I don't know if it could turn into more phases than 2. At Hilltop, it's mostly exterior work. There's really no interior work at this point. So we're addressing some erosion issues that we've got ongoing, repairing some sidewalks, some retaining walls that are starting to have issues, and some site sealant, some brick repairs around the building. At 377, our phase 1 improvements cover some things at baseball, softball. We're looking at doing some covers for the seating at baseball and softball. We've got renovations at the concession stand with some things at the fields as well. We are replacing turf on all the fields over there, including the indoor activity center. This summer, that's actually being led by our maintenance department, maintenance group. not part of our contract documents that I work with the architects on. Resurfacing of the track is included. Again, that's something that we're handling through the maintenance department, not through our architect. We'll just coordinate. And then on the interior, we've got a major theater overhaul, which will include a lot of lighting, rigging. There'll be some architectural elements that we get into, some painting, just a whole lot of various things related to the theater. Sixth grade center, phase one. Here on this campus, the work's a lot less that we've got planned. We've got some MEP stuff that we're looking at, and then some utility issues that we're also looking at addressing. The connector hallway over here at Canyon Falls, connecting our two classroom wings. We've got schematic design in process. We had a meeting with the architect last week to review where they're at. So there's not a lot we can change at this point. It is just a hallway, so there's not a lot of architectural things to deal with. So that one should probably progress quite rapidly through the rest of the phases, getting that into the town for site plan approvals and things. We do have an RFQ that was issued to hire our construction manager on that project, so that is currently open. We've got some interviews scheduled for Thursday with some firms. And after that, we'll be bringing you a recommendation in February. Got a fall 2026 projected start date for that project. That would be a late fall, I suspect. And then a fall 2027 projected completion date.
Is that to begin the fall or sometime during the fall in 27? In other words, would it be ready for the school year?
No, to actually complete in the fall, not
During
complete
the
by
fall.
August of 27.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, sometime in the fall. We've got, I feel like some of these got out of order here, but I'm gonna roll with it. Land purchases, we've got 128 acres that we purchased off of Robeson Ranch Road. That's been completed, it's closed, and that's just some land that we're holding. As needs could arise, we have that available. Then we just, back in December, completed closing on 50 acres on Harpell Road, just north of the current middle school campus.
And Jeff, so, okay, never mind, it's on the next slide, you've got it.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like we may have, somehow these may have moved on me or something.
It's okay, we're good.
I wasn't expecting that one yet. So new middle school too, we're currently in the process of architect selection on that project, and in fact, we'll bring that to you later tonight for approval of an architect. The location is on the Harpole site mentioned in the slide before, and then the projection would be for this to open for the school year of 2029, and I'll clarify that and not use fall anymore. Okay. Elementary school number 6, same with the architect. We'll be bringing that later tonight for architect approval. Same schedule for opening for school year 29-30. And that location currently will be in First Ranch on 50 acres that we've already purchased about a year ago, I want to say.
Yep, so it'll be on about the 15 acres of that 50, right?
Yes.
Will be, okay.
Transportation parking lot here at Canyon Falls that we've been working on that one. We've actually got construction documents in progress. Projected start will be summer of 2026 sometime, probably later. Projected completion sometime fall, winter of 2026. It won't be a very long duration project once we get approvals from the town. We have made our initial site plan submission to the town. They have returned comments, and so we're in the process of addressing those and getting a resubmission back to them for their second review. New middle school number 3 planning was included, along with some buses and technology. Kind of grouped these together on one slide. We actually have not done any work on these particular items at this time. Proposition B, this was our baseball and softball facility here at Canyon Falls. So we are currently in the design development process. Our RFQ for construction manager on this one is also open. It was issued the same time as our connector hallway on this campus. And those same interviews for this one will be Thursday as well. And we'll be bringing you a recommendation for construction manager in February. Projected start date would be later this fall, 2026, with a target completion date of late fall 2027. The goal being that this is complete for the start of baseball season in 2028. And I believe that is it for that. Any questions?
Appreciate the detail.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the update.
Dr. Carpenter.
My turn. All right,
your
thank you.
report.
Yeah. So we have several things going on that, I mean, we haven't been back to school but a couple weeks, and lots of celebrations just in those 2 weeks to go through with you. So we've got a kind of smattering of pictures here, but we just had Music Man, the theater production for the high school this past weekend. Last week we got to have the traveling barbership quartet entertaining around the district, and so in fact I've had an email, somebody was asking how they could get them signed up to come to their business. So that word has spread. They did a great job, such talent. I know Miss McGarvey got to take her grandchildren, and she was raving over that. So great job by our theater production with Music Man. We also had this past weekend, simultaneously going on, we had UIL spirit competition with our cheer team, and our ladies that group did a great job. Out of 5A Division II, there were 76 teams, and they placed 12th, so they made finals on Saturday and ended up placing 12th. So great job to Ms. Hawk and the entire spirit competition team. We also had on Friday, we had our UIL elementary academics. So just, for perspective here, a lot of districts will have combined UIL elementary academic competitions, and we have so many students, we only have our own. So we have 442 actually participating last Friday. And so usually it's at the First United Methodist Church, but this year we held it at the Fellowship of the Parks Church in North Lake. So great utilization of their space. They opened their doors. They helped us move chairs. I know our Horizon teachers were very, very thankful for that. But just all the teachers and the coaches that go in and the work that goes into that, it's quite a production, and our kids will love it. They let them off the buses, and they come running in the front doors, and they're excited. And I know, did you judge, Miss Artho? Mm-hmm. Dr. McDay, did you judge? Anybody else judge this time? So I know it's a huge event, so thank you for being a part of that. Very proud of them. And then we also have our DECA and our hostess students at the high school. They had competitions last week, and we had a record number of students at the high school participating in DECA. So we had 108 students participate, and that's the most in our history, and 33 advanced to the state DECA meet, which will be held, and Mr. Kershaw is our representative sponsor for that group, and that's our Distributive Education Clubs of America. And then our HOSA, which is our health science group, we had future health professionals. We had 6 students qualify for state, and that'll be in Corpus Christi in March. So great results coming out of those organizations. And then we also had a top 10 finisher in the fall national qualifier for the 2026 Microsoft Office Specialist Competition. And that student was Rithvik Dodla. So congratulations to Rithvik on that, top 10 finisher and a national qualifier. We also have Julian Caldwell. If you don't know Julian, he is one of our junior standout football players at over here at the high school. He participated in the Under Armour All-American game over Christmas break in Florida. So just an incredible honor for Julian, and I know his recruiting has really heated up, and he's been seeing a lot of coaches coming through the school over here to see him, but going to have a great senior year, and we're very proud of Julian. He serves on my Superintendent Advisory Council, and he's just an incredible young man, so we're very, very proud for him. And then we also had, right before the break, Representative Andy Hopper, our state rep, presented a resolution to our band program, Argyle High School Band, for their place at the state UIL marching contest. So we appreciate his recognizing our band program. And then from our winter sports, boys soccer, they're ranked 10th in state right now. Girls soccer is ranked 6th, and our girls basketball continues to soar through district, and they're number 2 in state right now. So a lot of things going on with our all of our programs. And you'll notice our campus administrators are all over the place at different activities going on. In fact, we've got district basketball going on tonight. So girls wrestling won the Coyote Classic meet this weekend. And then the last thing I want to celebrate is our Capital of the Classroom podcast, which is headed up by Maddie Fairchild, teacher at South, Mr. Orlowski, teacher at the high school, and Katie Hayden, our principal at West. Their third episode dropped today. So if you do not know about the Capital of the Classroom podcast, you should join in on that and check out their third episode today. So I believe that's all I have as far as celebrations, but I do want to share, as always, an enrollment update and our class size update, because that was a board budget priority coming out of last year into this year, where we added, under the board approved, $3.5 million worth of teacher positions to get our class sizes down. So always like to make sure you see that every month, and then see where our enrollment is hovering over, and we're right there at our October projections, holding right there. And then really just some updates. We have the school board election that'll be on May 2nd, so filing is currently open. Mr. Herron and his team, Mr. Saylor, are working currently on the process for the mascot and colors logo for Argyle Middle School and Argyle Legacy High School. So we'll be sharing some drafts with our East Zone families in the coming weeks. We also have Argyle Education Foundation's annual gala coming up, and new location this year. It's going to be at the Reserve at Marty B. So we're excited about that relocation. And then February 4th will be National Signing Day at the high school, where our student athletes will be signing for their college scholarships. And it's also, for the first time, I believe, Mr. Herron, is being sponsored by Uniball. Is that correct? So we have a sponsorship for this time. We also have a couple school holidays coming up. No school for students, February 9th and 10th. I believe, Dr. Jordan, that is Super Bowl Monday? Mm-hmm. Okay, so no school for students on Super Bowl Monday. And that will be a virtual work day for staff, and then district professional learning day on the 10th. Then we have a meet and greet with Ms. Wheeler, the new principal for Scott Gibson Middle School, coming up February 26th. And so that'll be going out to our parents for zone to that campus. We also will be starting our budget process, and Teacher of the Year process is coming up. We'll have our prize parade on Friday, March 20th. And then if you are an Argyle High School parent or live in Canyon Falls or part of this building, you received notification today. We have, I know everybody's kind of laughing, but it is a real problem. We have a turkey vulture infestation, and they're damaging property. So we are finally, in partnership with the USDA, working to safely eradicate this property of turkey vultures, because there are...
Mr. Westrum's
I'm disappointed.
Well,
really
you can't. They're protected. So we're working with the USDA.
They're going to be
appropriately.
safe, trust me.
Trust me, he's never read a
If he's hunting them, they're
regulation.
going to be safe.
We actually we're on our 5th damaged vehicle so far with turkey vultures. So
started
we're
the
trying to,
process that you outlined? We started the
they will be here
sound.
tomorrow to start the pyrotechnic process. So if you hear those sounds, they're coming from
Get a
the
lawn chair and-
partnership with the USDA for a couple of weeks to see if we cannot relocate our birds.
A new subcommittee to be created by Mr. Westrom here.
So,
I know how to deal with nuisance animals.
when you think there's nothing else, right? So that is all we have from the superintendent report.
Okay. All right, thank you, Dr. Carpenter. All right, Dr. Daniel, got almost 1,500 pages here.
He's gonna read them all.
We're gonna go over them, or do you want Matt to read them all?
Whereas.
It's like the Andy Kaufman reading.
Okay. So as you know, there were a lot of House bills, Senate bills that went through legislation last summer. And this is a result of that. This is called Update 126. It comes from TASB. Although we're looking at these as information only, many of these policies have already been put into place. That cell phones, the grievance process, reporting requirements. There were quite a few changes. And as you already know, there's two parts to policy. There's the legal part of it, and there's the local part of it. The legal is the law, and that's that is included in this as well. But tonight, we're going over the local, because TASB sends model local policies, and you're able to adapt those to your district. They give you suggestions, and then you can change it however you want. So our process for this, and it is a lot. I mean, he was joking about 1,500 pages. It's a lot. It's a whole lot.
Serious.
And so we go through each one of the local policies, and our cabinet is assigned different portions of it depending upon their expertise. This first one, B, which I'll start with, that is Dr. Carpenter's expertise. So she reviewed those, and then Rick, Liz, myself, and Dawn, Dr. Jordan, sorry, reviewed the other policies. So as Mr. Slayton said, I'm not going to go through all of the every single word in the policy, but I'm going to give you a brief summary of each one. And again, this is information only. It's a lot to digest, although I think a lot of it's going to already sound familiar because you've heard about this since August. Just with us giving you updates on things that were going on. So first, we'll start with B. Local policy BE and BED. Mr. Slayton was reading parts of BED earlier about public speaking, but some changes with this is, we now have different timelines as far as when we need to post the agenda, the roll calling of votes, which you guys have been doing, and then one of the things that changed as well with BED is our start time of 5 p.m. You have to publish that in your policy as well. Can you go ahead and go to C? And along the way, if you have questions about any of these, feel free to ask, and I may look at Liz or I may look at Dr.
And
Jordan.
some of them are just kind of a rearranging of words.
Of words. A lot of times they do that.
The meaning may not necessarily change, but they just reworded things, and so we have to kind of figure that out.
And most of it's just pretty ridiculous. I mean, honestly, if you look at how they run their meetings down in Austin and the lack of notice and all that stuff, and then they sit there and they spend all their time telling us how to run meetings and when we have to post stuff, and I mean, it's totally ridiculous.
And,
it's like, what happened to local control? I just can't even stand it, but go ahead.
Well, and we had the opportunity back in October at the Region 11 Superintendent's meeting. We actually had the opportunity to have Representative Hopper and Representative Hayes come visit with us. And one of the things that both of them recognized is there's been, the talk about how central offices are bloated and there's too many people at central office. Well, they realize that it's because of when they start seeing it on paper and they see how many things they put in place, although we're lean up here, but somebody has to
read all this stuff, and somebody has to tell us what we need to do, because the board isn't going to do it. I mean, it's just it's just utterly ridiculous, micromanaging local government.
They're just justifying themselves, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's for the few districts that haven't done things right. Again, it goes back to that.
It's an overcorrection to a few districts that weren't doing things the right way.
And I think that's the sentiment that I've heard in talking with other superintendents and other trustees across Denton County. It's like, yes, local control is going away, but again, we're seeing our legislators in Austin are stamping the entire state with rules and laws and changes based upon a couple of districts. They want one size fits all for everything, and that's not who we are as a state. That's not how each district is. We're not the same. We're all different. But our legislators, time and time again, just want to paint us with the same brush. So whether that's with finances, whether that's with grading policies, whether that's with rules.
I mean, what it is Dr. Carpenter was saying, when they pass policies and they pass new policies, it usually requires people to implement them. But they don't give you any money. They just pass the policy. They don't give any extra money to implement it. And so then you go, okay, well, we got to hire somebody. And then they go, oh my gosh, you're big and fat at the central office. You're spending too much, and you're just going, it's your policy.
It's unfunded mandates over and over again.
But go. All right.
Can you fix?
So,
can you fix
we have to read them. We need to read them.
That's how I feel.
If you have questions, email Josh.
So as far as policy under C, the only things I'll highlight here are you'll see this on multiple tabs under policy, board policy, the removal and prohibited DEI activities, whether it's contractors, teachers, staff. And then designating the use of private spaces by biological gender, which we were already doing. So I'll just highlight those two there. E.
So I'm sorry, can I ask a question about the last one? I thought that was set by our policy, where we require.
Senate Bill 8 came into effect December 3rd or 4th. So we had to post, so anything that's used as a multi-use space, so like a locker room.
I'm sorry, I wasn't talking about that one.
Oh,
The
sorry.
last one, competitive bidding.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Thought you were talking
I
about
thought
that.
that was
Sorry.
our policy.
The local side is, and they allowed it to go up to 100,000, which we implemented when the law changed.
So we're already there.
We were
You're already doing
yes,
it.
sir.
Okay.
Yeah, listen, we talked about this before the meeting, in case it came up. Okay. E. E. This is instruction. Again, these are things that are already doing, and some of these things we were already doing. It just puts a law requirement behind it, that teachers provide an instructional plan or a syllabus for each class prior to the beginning of each semester. There's a review of instructional materials process now, which we discussed last year as well. One of the big changes, and you'll see this referenced in the students section, the changing of the reporting requirements for any kind of abuse or neglect. This one specifically is special education students because it falls under E, but it's across the board, where it changed from 48 to 24 hours. And then allowing parent conferences designated dates and times 2 times per year. F deals with students. Senate Bill 12 with FA Local requires a parent portal on the district's website, which we have, where you can submit comments to administrators or the board. Let's see, we talked a little bit about nurses earlier this evening. Allows nurses or other employees to administer non-prescription med in accordance with legal requirements. One of the things that is new is FFF, notification to a parent within 1 business day if a district employee is alleged to have engaged in misconduct with a student as defined by law. And then it goes into FFG, which again changes the timeline or the time frame from 48 hours to 24, which you saw in policy E earlier. And then FNG, there were a lot of changes to the grievance complaint policy as far as timelines and bringing additional information to a hearing.
And this will update according to the new law, correct?
Yes.
Okay, because there are several districts that are choosing to DOI out of that, but we are not. We're updating it according to the new law.
So DOI will let you get out of that?
Right now it will, but I'm sure it's probably gonna.
DOI was just a blanket get out of jail free card for anything you didn't want to do.
Right, that it'll be addressed next session, I'm sure, but right now it's being used.
Okay, D. This all has to do with employees and contracts and everything to do with employees. So we discussed the financial benefit for personal benefit earlier, back in, gosh, July or August, with, if you have staff that may be providing lessons outside of the school day, and it prohibits administrators, specifically assistant superintendents and higher, from doing a similar job. But we brought all of those names to you. There were some changes to the FMLA leave. Again, DEI is a reason for you not to have a teacher come back. And then, again, more DEI. Oh, specifically with assisting with social transitioning. Cannot do that.
Sure. But you can't give it that. Sure. You can't give it that.
Okay, then G changed, this goes back to grievances. It changed the timelines for community complaints, although it's not the same as a parent complaint, but the timelines are different. And then language regarding handguns, I was talking to Mr. Lemish about that earlier. It basically allows for somebody with an out-of-state license to be able to carry in this state and not be charged for the crime if you're on school property. So that is a very brief overview of the local policies. There's a more exhaustive handouts of policy comparisons that if you want to go through those and look at those and have any questions between now and next month, I would be more than happy to answer those for you.
And like you said, they became law by certain dates. They're just now coming to you as policy updates. We have already enacted these. They're just now getting to you as policy updates.
Yeah, they had to hire people to review them and then give their thoughts on
We're
them
actually
to us.
still waiting on the commissioner rules on some of them.
It took us a while to get just this. I mean, we've had it
Yes.
It
Yeah.
was late October or maybe early
Actually, it
November.
was way later than that because the first round went out and we weren't in the first round. They did it in kind of sections.
What'd you say the language was regarding handguns? They changed it?
Can you pull that up? That is G. Go back to the other one. You're gonna have to go back to one of the other.
Back to the agenda.
Yep. Okay, it's the very last sentence. That was the big change. There. Talking about prohibited items on campuses, and there were exceptions to the policy, and there's no violation. It used to just say Texas, but now it's not specific to Texas. If you have a handgun license from another state and you have it in the parking lot, it is not considered a violation.
Okay.
It doesn't change.
It just says it's in a, okay.
It's Castle
It's in the vehicle.
It's taking away from the
Yes.
Texas.
Yeah, I thought it
Not
was
in the-
the.
No,
Not to
sorry.
any
Not
licensee.
not in a building, but
Locked vehicle in a parking lot garage, yeah. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
The district leadership team came up with 3 different options for calendars. We do this every year. We send it out to the district for vote. All district staff members have the opportunity to vote. So the 3 options are fairly similar. Mostly the changes have to do with when spring break is and what fall break looks like. So option number 1, receive the most votes. That calendar is the most similar to this year's calendar. It does have the fall break. It has the parent conference days and the spring break that's approximately the same time as it is this year. If you'll scroll down just one more page. And you can see there that's how the votes turned out. Option 1 had over 50%. Option 2 did not have a fall break, so you can see how that went over with 11%. Option 3 did have the fall break, but it had a later spring break, which was attached to Easter at the end of the month, just to shake it up a bit, but that one didn't get enough votes. So right now we're looking at a calendar for next school year that is very similar to the calendar for this school year. 447 responses.
Probably, close to 700.
Any questions for me?
If you talk about everything.
Okay, thank you.
So that'd be the first one.
Mhm.
We're going to talk just a little bit about this year's budget before we get into our audit for last year. All right, so this is the budget amendment number 2 for this fiscal year. And this one actually deals with all expenses, just like the first one did. It's increasing our expenses overall. It still keeps us at a surplus budget. It's all at the general fund. This goes into, and I think I've got it listed there, there's some required math academy training that was new in this legislative session, and we're going to try and implement some of that this summer. I believe Dr. Jordan has a plan of spreading that out over several years because you have some timelines of when we have to have all of the teachers through that training. There's some additional staff development at the campus level. There's an FTE for the Dean of Student Support. There's some additional cameras that were requested under our SPED department, and then a replacement of a police department vehicle. So we had our police department truck, which transmission blew. They've had it reviewed and looked at. The police department feels like even fixed, it would no longer be a vehicle that would be valuable to their department. They would rather move forward with a new vehicle. What we want to do is fix it still and use it for our maintenance department because a lot of those vehicles stay local. So we do still see value in keeping the vehicle and having it fixed. That repairs around $9,000 or $10,000. A new police department vehicle is around $65,000. We did look at replacing it with a used vehicle for the cost of the used and the mileage that was on it. We felt it was better going with the new, and it. This one was on the schedule to be replaced, I believe, in 1 more year. So this does bump up a replacement schedule for it in a year. So we didn't actually have that planned in the budget originally, but that's why it's coming in now, because it's currently sitting in a shop, and that officer is driving one of our Suburbans currently at the moment. It's on loan from the transportation department from them. Do you mind scrolling down? And if you'll keep going past the revenue, because we haven't made any changes there, to the last page, which is the expenses, the functions, you will see how that affects the functions here. Curriculum there, that is the Reading Academy, staff development, school leadership, there's an FTE, and there's some more of that staff development training in that function. And then the security has the police department vehicle as well as the cameras, and I believe the cameras were $25,000 of that. Some of that is work that we're required to put some cameras in, and the remaining of that $25,000 is in case we have to put some additional ones in throughout the year. We didn't have a line item that allotted for the request of cameras in there originally in the budget. So this is going back and covering what we've had to do so far and addressing any potential requests before this fiscal year is over. So it's still, go down just a little bit further. It's $306,000. Again, it still keeps us in a surplus at this point. Brings us down to about $436,000 surplus if everything was spent. I saw some quizzical looks there. If you got some questions on that.
Cameras, we're using the same. These are in the room.
This one is specifically in a room, in a special education department room. Where a parent is able to request that camera.
So are we using, Austin, are we using Verkada? Are we granting them access to that camera through Verkada?
It's not for...
He's got to go
it's
up there.
not for staff. It's only if...
Oh, so it's not in on our network?
It is, but the only access that we're supposed to have is to make sure that it's online.
You got to go where Liz
Will
is.
you go up there so
and
you
say
can show
everything
that?
you just said. Mr. Hawksworth new to
my
this.
job.
The way that this works is a lot different than everything else as far as our cameras go. Really the only access is in technology to ensure that it's operational. If and when video is necessary to be viewed, we would either provide that individual the footage or allow them access to review it.
Okay.
So it's not everybody can have access
It's
to it.
not something that the principal has.
No. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and
But
it's
we are
honestly
using the same
we've
provider.
restricted it from our standpoint as well. Like I said, our only use case is to make sure that it's operational.
Okay. And we are using the same provider.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
But it's another unfunded State
Yes,
mandate.
it is. That is absolutely correct,
As was
unfunded
the-
mandate.
As was the Math Academy, right?
As was the what?
The training for the Math Academy.
That is, that one, there was some funding in there. It is not directly, but they've put some additional funding in for early childhood, early ed education, I believe. We're still trying to figure out how that directly ties. The funding is supposed to flow to it, but you're supposed to use that category of funding for the training.
And the FTE was for?
Can you go back up? It was, make sure I get the title correctly on that one. To the first page.
Yeah, Dean of Student.
Dean of Student, I believe is what that is. One more page. There we go.
So we have that person?
Dean of Student Support, FTE.
I've noticed
Yes,
that on
that's-
several district websites, other districts that are adding this position.
For Hilltop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Got
it's
it.
the,
Okay, now I understand.
it was an administrative position that we already had, so we,
Okay,
Yes, we had that billet, but did not have it in the budget.
right.
So
okay.
this covers it on the budget end.
I think one of the things I learned just walking the campuses last year, budget workshop last year, and then, walking the campuses last week when we had the opportunity to meet with the campus leaders. It was, consistently, they feel like their needs, certainly at the elementary school levels, are for more counselor AP type roles because of the amount of paperwork and 504.
threat
and
assessments.
Threat assessments, and they feel very, our elementary schools are pretty large, and our campus leadership positions are pretty thin. And so I think that, this is meeting a need,
It's an
that I
immediate
hear,
need,
that I hear
yes.
about.
And we're gonna bring back more for next year with the other campuses.
Okay.
We had a need right now, and then we'll have some others moving forward.
Good.
All right, any other questions on this? Okay, we'll bring it back to you next month.
Okay.
And then if you're ready for the next one?
Oh, we're ready.
All right, so this is our audit report for fiscal year 24-25, and Dan Ton is here to present that to you. Why don't you come up?
These are not me.
The report's here online, but you also have a bound copy in front of you on your podium.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Appreciate the opportunity to be with you tonight and to go over the audit. I want to recognize one of my staff members, Maddie Wilson, is attending this meeting tonight with me. He's one of our newer staff accountants. Wanted to see how the sausage was made.
We're typically an easier audit, so we don't have too many curveballs. Liz doesn't bury any Easter eggs.
Or she buries them, so.
I'll start with our independent auditor's report, which is on pages 5, 6, and 7. The auditor's report is what's referred to as an unmodified report. That's the highest level of reporting that you can receive as a governmental entity. The term unmodified refers to the fact that no modifications were necessary to the standard clean auditor's report. There's no findings, there's no compliance issues noted. So it's an excellent report. The audit went very well. We didn't have any problems during the audit. Liz and her staff do a great job getting us the information that we need. And the district had a good year financially. Your fund balance improved. I know that staff throughout the district did a lot of work, looking at expenses, and you are able to end the year with a surplus, and we'll look at that in just a minute. The first section of the audit report is called Management's Discussion and Analysis. It's primarily a narrative section that just talks about what is in the financial statements and things of that nature. There are some numbers on pages 11 and 12 that are comparative numbers, looking at fiscal year 25 compared to fiscal year 24. These are government-wide numbers from the government-wide financial statements, and we'll talk about the difference in those in just a minute. But you can see on page 11, your net position went up from 6.5 million to 13 million. These are the numbers that include all of your capital assets, includes long-term debt. So it's more of a consolidated type presentation as opposed to your fund by fund statements that we'll also look at. There was a change in accounting principle this year. The standard setting body for governmental entities is referred to as the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. They issued a new pronouncement that was effective for this year dealing with compensated absences, which for a school district is sick leave primarily. And as you know, Texas school districts have both state and local sick leave that can be carried over from year to year. And this standard dealt with measuring that and recording the liability for that that's been earned but will be used in a future year. That resulted in an adjustment to your beginning net position to reduce it by 2.7 million, which would have been the liability at the beginning of the fiscal year. And then the liability went up about 200,000 during the year for additional leave that was earned but not used. This is another accounting standard that's kind of a, I don't know, it's just a number. It's like your pension liability and your OPEB liability. It's not going to be paid out at any specific time, but they want it measured, so that's what we've done. It's a little bit harder to do in Texas because Texas has specific rules on their state leave. The state portion of all your accumulated leave, an employee can leave next year and take that with them. So it's no longer a liability to the district. But likewise, an employee can come in and bring state leave with them. So you kind of have to look at trends and do estimates to come up with a number for that accumulated leave. I want to look at the fund financials real quickly. I know you're interested in fund balances. On pages 20 and 21, it shows your fund balances. Your general fund, which is the first column, you ended the year with 15.6 million fund balance. On pages 24 and 25, it shows the revenues and expenditures of the various funds. You can see that your general fund went up by 2.9 million, from 12.6 million to 15.6 million. Your fund balance is about 26% of your expenditures. That's right at 3 months, which is a good solid working capital base. And so before this year, you were down more like 20%. So it was no, that's not right. It was 12, I think. So as you grow, you need to increase your fund balance because your expenditures are growing. So to maintain the same percentage of expenditures, which that's one of your indicators in FIRST and things like that, you have to add money to fund balance based on the growth in your expenditures. But the 15.6 million that you're at now is is a healthy amount. Also on page 24 and 25, you can see that your capital projects fund increased significantly due to the bond sale that was done in fiscal 25. You issued approximately $281 million of new bonds. Your ending fund balance is now $352 million in capital projects. And that just really represents the unspent bond proceeds in the capital projects fund. And the presentation that you saw earlier shows you what all is planned for those dollars. The debt service fund went up. And again, as your debt grows, your fund balance in debt service will also hopefully grow to maintain good working capital in that fund. So I think you're in good shape financially regarding your funds, and I want to cover one other thing real quick, which is towards the back of the report. It's called the Federal Awards section. It begins on page 85. There's two more independent auditors' reports. The first of those reports deals with all of your grant funds that you receive from both the state and the federal government. The second report deals with what are referred to as major federal grants. Your major programs are determined each year on a rotation basis so that all of your large programs are audited at least once every 3 years. And when I say audited, I mean audited as a major program, which includes additional procedures. All of your grant programs are audited, but these major programs, we apply more stringent audit procedures. And again, like I said, each program is covered as a major program every 3 years, at least once every 3 years. Again, both of those reports are unmodified reports. There were no findings, there were no compliance issues noted. I'll be happy to try to answer any questions that you might have over the financial statements of the audit.
I just want to emphasize maybe some points, if the conclusions I'm drawing are correct. Based on your audit of our financials, you determined that our revenue was higher than our expenditures.
In the general fund?
In the general fund.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So basically, we brought in more than we spent.
That's correct.
Pretty fiscally responsible, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we were able to build up our fund balance
It's compared to the previous year.
Compared to the previous year, right?
Yes, I think it was 2.9 million, right? Yeah, it went up by 2.9 million in the general fund.
And that's a positive, right?
Yes.
Is there anything that you want to draw my attention to in your analysis of our financials that says, hey, there's some red flags in here. You got some problems coming. Anything you see?
No, I mean, when we look at a school district, there's the financial statements, which we've just talked about, but in terms of bond credit ratings and things, there's a lot of non-numbers issues like student growth, which we all know that you're growing at a high rate, property value growth. So all of those are on a positive upbeat. So not only just the specific numbers, but the things that make those numbers come about are all on a positive slope. So I wouldn't say that there's any specific red flags.
Thank you.
Now, you also know, as y'all deal with every month, that growth brings with it its issues. But I think you've done a great job of dealing with those and managing the debt and getting the buildings built. And
Thank you.
All right. Anything else?
I just want to give a public accolade to Ms. Liz Stewart, because without her, this doesn't happen. So she always does a great job. Keeps us informed, tells us stuff in English, which I like, not financial ease, and understands it. And just a great credit to her and her staff for doing that.
Very well done.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve action item 11A as presented.
So moved. Either way,
Whoa.
I can have it.
Okay, Mr. Matthew Slayton, motion to approve. Do I second?
Second.
All right, Dr. Leona McDade with second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Gosh, everyone's so eager tonight for motions and seconds. It's amazing. What a
Thank y'all for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it. All right, welcome back, Liz.
Right. Okay, this one was brought to you last month as information for action tonight. This has to do with purchases over the local limit of $100,000, which we talked about just a minute ago in that policy update. And if you'll remember, we tried to organize these a little bit differently and a little bit different fashion to give you a little more information about what you're seeing each time. All of these, I know each one of them has a description. A lot of these are very similar because all of these have to do with the FF&E at the new Scott Gibson Middle School. But it's broken down to based on department, vendors, and what type of items they are. I know you've kind of had a month to look at it and view it. Do you have any questions about it? Any particular items or amounts that are on there? Okay. We will have several other items on FF&E that don't have as long as lead times as some of these later on, but we're still well within our budget and project to be well within that budget that's in that capital construction budget.
Okay.
All right.
Entertain a motion to approve action item 11B as presented.
So moved.
This is the Artho with the motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Rich McDowell with the second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Cohen, welcome back.
Thank you. First item I have for you tonight is approval of our construction procurement method. And this is for the elementary school number 6 and middle school number 2. At this time, there's no budget impact. State law gives us up to 7 different procurement methods. If we do not go competitive bid, just straight, which is basically low bid, then we've got to get board approval for that. And so we are recommending the construction management at risk method for both of these projects. And that's what we have for you tonight for approval.
Mr. Western, would you have any questions on the procurement method?
And you have been working with our board subcommittee, correct, on those?
Yes, we have. We've had several discussions about it.
Yes, you're on that.
Okay. But really, I do this. This is one of the areas that I've grown in since I've served. I have.
Is that trust?
It's always been, as you know, there are, with rising cost, with every building that we're building, it just seems like it's hard to maintain within the projected budget because of inflation and different things. And so we've challenged this over the years. And the other one we've have is it's called CSP, right?
That's correct. Competitive sealed proposals.
It's most people. And in my serving on that committee, it's been beneficial to thank Dr. Carpenter. I think when you have opinions about things, she does what any good leader does and says, well, you get to serve on a committee.
So that we can hear all of your opinions.
And so in asking architects and others, it does seem that we had the opportunity to ask them, say, what would you recommend for these projects? You know, what procurement method, and it seemed unanimous that they would all prefer this CMR, correct? I mean,
Yes.
Is that what you heard?
Correct.
And can you just speak, and just for the benefit of the public, why do you think CMR is the preferred procurement method as opposed to a sealed bid?
Absolutely. So this method allows us to get our general contractor, if you will, our construction manager on board early at the beginning of the project while we're still in design. So they are a partner in the process, helping us with material selections, different systems, what type of structural, what type of foundation, what type of mechanical system, because they're the ones in daily contact with subcontractors, with the trades that are really the ones that do the work. And so that allows us to manage the budget from the beginning toward that goal of ensuring that we are at or below what we have, versus the other method, we don't have the advantage of having them involved at that stage. So until we finish the drawings, send it out for bid, receive those bids, we don't really know what the cost is. Yes, the architect will do some budgeting, and they'll reach out and request favors of contractors they do a lot of work with, you know, as a guide, but it's not as in-depth. Those contractors doing favors, they have no skin in the game, if you will. So, you know, they're not going to give it the time. So this method allows us to get them on board and help control those costs. Doesn't always work. Doesn't mean we always bring a project in, you know, in budget. We have examples where we've gone over what we've had, but it gives us a better chance to manage those and to mitigate those issues that we may have down the road.
And one of the things I think I consistently heard is that when you do the CSP bidding process, you don't know who your subs really are.
That is can be true. I mean, we can certainly request the information, but with the CM method, we have a lot more input into which subs are selected. You know, because there could be subs that have done work for us in the past that did not perform well, and we really don't want them. And so we have the opportunity to provide that input, or vice versa. They can, you know, give us the same input. So it allows us as a team to make those decisions where we want to spend the money. So it's not necessarily going to be the lowest price, but that is not necessarily always the end goal, because we need a good product. We need to know it will be done on time, and sometimes that's worth a little bit more money for that partnership to make sure we get the product we want when we need it.
JRE was built under the CMR.
It was.
And we're doing the middle school, Gibson Middle School and Ball Elementary under CMR.
Yes.
Okay. We have built a school under CSP.
We have.
And was that south?
That was south.
Okay. Have you seen any indication that one procurement method, from a cost standpoint, I mean, it generates lower cost versus the other?
It really doesn't. I mean, you can, you know, I've looked at many projects throughout the years and have compiled the data, and sometimes the CM method, it brings a cheaper product. You know, when you look at a square foot cost of, you know, comparable elementary schools, other times CSP does. So I don't think the method determines the cost.
Because
I don't think that really
it's not
is
the quality of the buildings. The schools are magnificent. Best I can tell, they seem to all, everybody seems to be really pleased with the product. The frustration has been the cost.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're telling us that I don't think you're going to get a better price by doing a different method.
I don't think the method will drive the price, no.
It's just control and transparency.
Yes, there's much more transparency with CM at risk. It is still competitive because you still have all the trades. You know, a drywaller sub is going to be competing against all the other drywall subs for that project. So we still get the competition, it's just not at a general contractor level. But the general contractors, you know, they self-perform very little, so they really have very little of the expense of the overall project.
And the CSP can have surprises, sometimes some.
The CSP can have
added
surprises, which we will carry
at the end.
contingencies or allowances, to deal with those things. But with a CSP, they're gonna bid only what they see in the documents, versus a CM will assume certain things that may not be shown, but we know we're gonna do, and so we're seeing those cause, basically managing risk. And so we're trying to account for everything we can think of in the beginning, and that's why we get the guaranteed maximum price. Versus the other way, they're not gonna look at it that way. If it wasn't shown, they're not gonna say, well, I know I need to do it, let me put some money in, because the other contractors will not, and so they're gonna inflate their price if they do that. So we're liable for all of those expenses as a district versus the other one. There's some partnership there as we build up to that GMP.
I think one of the words we used a lot in our committee meetings was accountability. We've done CMAR projects, as you mentioned. You can have the right architect and the wrong contractor, the right contractor and the wrong architect, and that accountability. So it's really incumbent upon us, not just picking the method that gives us the most opportunity to work together sooner in the process, but with partners that are going to be accountable. And I think we've seen that with some of the projects that we've done recently. We're addressing it in other areas where maybe we haven't, but I think that's another piece of it, to me anyway, is you got to have partners, but good partners in both cases. So.
And you think that the CMR lends itself to a partnership early on because the construction manager that is got a lot of ownership.
Because you know the contractor early and you know the architect, and they can start working early to identify things like Jeff said that are maybe not in there, but it's kind of assumed. Well, in a CSP, which is your point, is typically that I think everybody thinks CSP you're going to get a better price because you're competitively sealing your bid and bidding against someone else, and typically you open it on bid day and whoever the lowest wins. Well, we've learned, right, that's not always the best. The lowest doesn't mean the best, for our needs. So anyway, I think accountability is another word that would go along with CMR for me, assuming you have the right partners.
Any other pontifications, questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve action item 11C as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Hawksworth, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Dr. Leona McDavid, second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, Mr. Cohen.
Thank you.
You're still up.
Back again. So next, we have recommendation for approval of our architect for the elementary school number 6 and middle school number 2. So we had a pool of 6 firms that have been previously qualified, and from that pool, we selected 3, which we looked at additional qualifications, did interviews, sit-down interviews with each of those firms to see which one was the best fit for these projects at this time. And so after going through that process, it was determined that Pfluger Architects, they were ranked highest. And so we reached out to them and have negotiated fees that we're bringing you tonight for approval. So we went through a couple of rounds of negotiations with them on fee. We're bringing you a fixed fee. Although I know we always like to look at what % of our construction budget it is, because that's kind of the standard that the industry goes by. And so after negotiation, we're at 5.6% of our construction budget is their fixed fee. So that won't go up throughout the project, but it is equivalent to 5.6%. And what we're bringing you for approval tonight would actually be a not to exceed, because we've got to consider reimbursable expenses, printing. They have to file for a TAS inspection, ADA inspection with the state, not average daily attendance, but Americans with Disabilities Act means something different to me. In addition, just contingencies, not knowing some of the off-site issues that we might encounter, we might have to get into some extra design work on certain aspects of that. So this also includes a contingency for unforeseen things on that side. So for the middle school number 2, it would be a not to exceed price of $6,379,630. And for the elementary school, it would be a not to exceed price of $3,275,333. And that would include those contingencies for those items.
But they're guaranteed those numbers.
We're guaranteed that those numbers I just gave you, that is not their fee. That includes those allowances, but
Right.
yes, their fixed fee is less than that, and that is the fee. Unless we, say, hey, we want to add a classroom, we can please go design 8 more classrooms. That would result in an additional services fee because that's not part of our original scope. We added that to the project.
Okay, gotcha. At the same.
I don't foresee we're doing that, but so yes, the fee should remain fixed.
Okay.
Okay, well, again, I'm going to go through this exercise for my own benefit, but hopefully the benefit of others that may be listening. I did have the opportunity to sit in on the architect interviews, and I think we interviewed, I can't remember, it was in the fall.
There's 2 different rounds.
2 different rounds. We went through 2 different rounds, and one in the fall, and then came back again in the last few weeks and interviewed 3 architectural firms for these 2 projects. Correct?
Correct.
I'll just, for the benefit of the board, that my first time I had been through this, prior to this meeting, I'd never been a part, and I don't think the board has ever been a part of those interviews. You just kind of showed up and told us, we've interviewed them, this is what they scored, and this is who we recommend. Is that not true?
No.
Okay,
That's
well,
okay. I just wanted that for the
whoever
record.
was on
for
that committee never
whoever's
spoke
watching-
up.
Whoever's watching. Just
So-
want that on record that
Okay.
wasn't a factual statement.
There's a lot more that went into that.
Really?
That we don't need to.
No, well, I wasn't part of it. So I just I'll tell you that my board members and the community, the architects are all great. They were fantastic. They're all qualified. They had great presentations, their resumes, their schools, the things that they've done. It's really a difficult process to kind of figure out, wow, what makes one stand out over the other, because they have impressive resumes. The other thing, I guess I'll add is the frustrating part for me, and I want people to understand this, is, because it's hard to separate the 3 that I think we kind of were honing in on, gosh darn it, I really wish I could get those 3 to bid on these projects, because that would probably be the tiebreaker. Is if I could see, well, we got Pfluger and VLK and PBK and others. Maybe whoever would be doing it for the best price would I'd be most interested in. But tell me why we can't do that.
Yeah, that is not allowed by state law because this is professional services, architecture and landscape architecture, engineering. There's a whole list of them. I think accounting is one of those services. So it's got to be awarded based on qualifications.
Yeah.
So we are not allowed to ask for fees until we identify who is the most qualified, and then we can only negotiate with the most qualified firm. If that negotiation fails, we can move to the second most qualified
So let's
firm.
be real honest. My opinion is, and I think many would agree with me, the only reason we can't talk to all 3 about price is because the architecture industry has a very strong lobbyist down in Texas that have passed that said, hey man, don't let them make us compete. Don't allow these districts
not
to
compete
competitively bid.
Not to compete on price.
Yeah, not to compete on price. Don't afford these school districts the things that you would do with any project of these sizes. And we're talking about $10 million in architectural fees, and I can't really get 3 firms to bid it. That's how crazy the process is. Because what you're telling me is if I say, you know what, man, $10 million, man, that's a big commitment. What do we do?
If we don't approve it, then,
what do we do?
We have to go back and continue negotiations.
With?
I would have to consult to see if we can continue negotiations with Pfluger at this point, or does that mean that those have concluded and we move to the next most qualified? I'm not sure.
So can I add
Some legal
a little bit?
input would be needed on that.
So, remind me of the percentage, it's a flat fee, remind me of the percentage that it's at?
5.6.
So
Industry typical, they're gonna tell you
traditionally-
6%.
Yeah, traditionally that number's 6.5%, right? And most of the time, that number is a percentage, right? So
Oftentimes, yes, it is as a percentage.
Oh, it's been a while. What school was the first one that we did? Was it West?
West.
So,
Well, actually, probably phase one over here.
phase one,
Yeah.
but that same contract.
Yeah.
So, about 5 years ago, almost, I don't know.
West opened in 19.
So back then, we we had a bond oversight committee, Josh, that went and said, hey, we think this is at odds, having a percentage, it's at odds with what we're trying to do, because now you're getting a set number of $10 million, and I agree with you. When he said the numbers out loud, my stomach turned over, right? But the alternative has been in the past that you're going to have a percentage, and if an architect or a contractor or collectively they come back to the customer, the district, and say, hey, we think you should do this, and it's another $5 million, guess what? Their fee just went up more. So traditionally it's 6 to 6.5. We got it fixed at 5. And I'll say one more thing, being in those architect meetings, one of the things that impressed me about at least 2 of the 3 were their projects under budget, right? They found ways to deliver the project under budget. I think our experience has, let me rephrase that. My experience with this professional service in my board days has been, hasn't been that, right? It's been, there's no, I used the word accountability earlier. There's been no accountability.
There's nobody in the process that's in it to save money, because
Well,
they all make more money the more it costs.
Well, not in the way we've
No,
negotiated.
that's what you were saying. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
but, so, anyway, I understand your frustration. I've felt it, I've said it for 8-9 years sitting here, but.
But what I want people to understand is you're telling me, if I said, hey, they're all very close. They're all more than qualified to build these schools. I think you'd agree with me.
I would.
If I said, you know what, this fee's too much, let's go to number 2. You would start this process over, no guarantee, they could be higher.
Correct.
And then you can't go back to number 1.
And then, but you're saying the problem is you go, wow, they're higher, we can't go back.
Correct.
By law.
Correct.
By law. Now that,
at the end of the process, if we go through all 3, we'd have to throw it all out and start all the way over.
And we don't
at the
have
beginning.
time.
We don't have time.
And so I just want people to understand, it frustrates me to no end that I can't use competition to get a better price for a professional service, which I would do in my private life. And it's a product of a law that the state has imposed upon us, likely because they got a lot of money from an architectural lobbyist firm. And that's the system we're dealing with. Having said that, Pfluger seemed like a great architectural firm. They have an experience in our district. I see them here. We have a.
They say.
This is just in, they've withdrawn.
I haven't received that
And they
email yet.
have a great reputation that I know others have checked in on and had said, what's it like working with them?
Yes.
And they have, and my understanding is it's been an excellent experience. And for that reason, I can't, given the limitations that are imposed upon us and going through the process, I do agree Pfluger is worthy of these projects.
We appreciate you going through the exercise. We do.
It's therapeutic.
I know.
And you are
That's good.
correct. We do have a team from Pfluger here tonight. We have Terry Hoyle, CEO. We have Dr. David Young, Kip Shep, and I think, is it Jennifer back there? Yes, thought I saw Jennifer. Jennifer Beam. So they did bring a team tonight. So thank y'all for being here.
One more question.
Stop.
Construction budget.
Yes.
What is it?
Construction budget, from memory, I didn't write that one down. We have around 111 million, I believe, for the middle school. And I want to say it's 56 million for the elementary school.
So I look forward to working with this architect on beating that number. And
Yes.
maybe their percentage goes from 5.6 to 6.
Hey, what do you mean it doesn't go up?
Go down. Because if we
Yeah,
can get
the percentage goes up.
Yeah, the
but
percentage will go
the fee
up.
stays the
The
same.
cost
I
goes
thought you were
down.
throwing in a kicker.
No, I look forward to working with them on ways to.
You can't do that. By the way, you can't do that
Back
either.
in.
Like to your point, we've even talked about, hey, finish early. You can't do that either.
I know. I look forward to looking into ways to come in under those numbers.
We know you do. We'll make sure you're there
As
every
do
step
I.
of the way.
I think I just got myself in some more meetings.
You are not rotating off.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve action item 11D as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Matthew Slayton, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Josh Westrom with the second. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank y'all.
Sorry.
It's therapy for us all. That's all it is.
Hello, Dr. Jordan.
Well, hello. We are changing gears, bringing you an action item tonight, virtual and hybrid learning. So Senate Bill 569 passed last summer, allowing us to receive full funding for students who are enrolled in virtual or hybrid programming. The reason we're doing this is to offer our families more choices and flexibility in making decisions on how their child learns best, what meets their needs as a family. So some of the things that we've considered as we've started to put this together is, and some of these I have some answers to or propose some answers to, is keeping it within the Argyle ISD zones. We don't have to decide about extra classes at this point. AP classes, however, for only in-person students, so thereby not creating a competition for that GPA. Students in person will be more likely for that GPA race, earning the extra points. Students who do participate in athletics, bands, and extracurriculars, the same opportunities for students in person, hybrid, and virtual. It will require staff members. I cannot give you a number at this time because it really depends on how many students we enroll in this program if it is passed. District finances, because we can continue to get the fast growth allotment. We're not opening a secondary campus for this purpose. And we do receive full funding for these students, should offset any cost associated with any staff members that we would have to bring on. We have some things in place I'll talk about ensuring high expectations and the rigor of Argyle ISD. And affecting overall student learning, once again, going back to providing flexibility and choices for our families is at the foremost of why we want to offer this program. But some other considerations to think about is that it could potentially free up some seats in our buildings, which long-term could be a benefit to us. So what's the difference? The virtual program is all online at home. Hybrid is some classes at home, some classes in person, using Edgenuity as our curriculum with some additional work for students with books they have to read, reports they have to submit. They are still required to take the STAR test, EOC. Students can graduate, however, completely virtual. They can meet CCMR requirements and graduate with a multidisciplinary or business endorsement. Some suggested parameters is only high school. Doesn't mean that we wouldn't one day open it up to other grade levels, but starting with only high school and thinking about what students would be most successful are some of those other parameters listed there. I've talked a lot with many other districts, including spending most of today at a district in the Metroplex who's been doing virtual for 8 years and really gleaning all I can from their experiences. Would only allow students to enroll in virtual or hybrid at the beginning of the semester, but allow students to move to in-person at any time. And the reason for that is students who are in-person, teachers can catch them up a lot easier if they're not in the exact same place in the curriculum. So just some FAQs there. Homeschool students can participate. One fact I got today is from the school district I was with is a lot of homeschool students did enroll, and about 20% on average over the last 2 years would choose not to continue in the program because of the rigor. And they also use Edgenuity. They use a few other things as well, but Edgenuity was the main one. Accommodations can be made for 504 and special ed students. It just kind of depends on what those accommodations are, so it's an individual basis. AP and most dual credit classes are only available in person, and students can only be on campus during their assigned class time. And attendance is taken, and that's how we can earn full funding for them. So it's important for families to think about if this is right for their students. So there's a list of some important things that families need to consider. Kind of talked about this a little bit about receiving the fast growth. We wouldn't open it up to more than 50%. And most of the schools that are districts that I've talked to start, a few students, and then word spreads pretty quickly. So the next steps, we have options. You can consider approving virtual and hybrid program. You can consider approving only one or the other, virtual or hybrid, or you can consider not approving either one, of course. But it's not an all or nothing, so I wanted to make sure and mention that to you. But what questions do you have as you're thinking about your decision tonight?
I'll go. So funding, obviously we get full state funding for these students. You mentioned we lose the fast growth
We
allotment.
do not lose the fast, no. We would only, campuses that lose it or districts that lose it is when they open a separate campus, a virtual campus. We are not doing that. Our students would be enrolled in Argyle High School.
Okay. The funding, I assume, as you mentioned, I think you mentioned more than takes care of the staff required. What about, you mentioned that you can only enroll at the beginning of a semester, but you could move to in-person throughout the semester.
So if virtual isn't working out for a student and their parents come and say, this isn't working for us, can we move to in-person learning? The answer is yes.
So that doesn't apply to a student that's in person. A student that's currently in person has to wait till the start of the next semester.
Correct. And in talking to other districts, they do make exceptions. They gave some examples of a student who was diagnosed with cancer and had to start undergoing chemotherapy. They made an exception for that.
Sure.
But it's not like the pandemic where your seniors would be like,
Correct.
oh, we're switching to virtual
Correct.
for a little
Yes.
bit. We'll be back in
That
a
is
couple
Yeah, I mean, I
weeks.
guess that's really where I'm going is
Yeah.
how do we control bouncing back and forth?
By only allowing them to enroll at the beginning of the semester. Now, they could bounce back and forth from one semester to the other. That is possible. But
not throughout the semester.
Yeah, not back and forth throughout the semester.
Okay. Can you go back a slide where you talked about homeschool? Homeschool students are welcome and can continue to participate in co-op groups. So they have to, I think I saw earlier some of the stuff you sent us in the last few weeks, they're fully registered students. They're not just taking a class here or there, they're fully registered. So they're really not, you're just saying homeschool students are eligible to enroll.
Mm-hmm. And they can still, they're homeschool co-ops that get together and plan field trips or other educational experiences for their students. And so they're not necessarily, they can choose how they work their schedule. So some students do 4 or 5 hours every day and do a little bit of all subjects. Some students are going to knock it out in 3 days during the week and have 2 other days free. And so any other activities that they're normally doing for that social interaction or outside educational experiences through their homeschool co-op, just making sure that they know they don't have to stop that.
So I think the important distinction for me with homeschool is learning and understanding. We had this topic come up in a different way recently about homeschool students participating in UIL. The difference here is these kids have now registered
Right.
in school.
Mhm.
So we receive funding for them. Previously, it was we received nothing.
1,500, I mean, it was.
It was, yeah, it was a
minimal.
small allotment
Mhm.
per. So that's the main differentiator there. They're still
It is.
required, as you've said, they have to still be here when they have to be here if they want to be a part of those clubs.
Yes.
Um, There was something else.
If they're on an
I mentioned.
athletic team, they have to be here for practices, just like any other student who's on that team.
Okay.
Well, and AP and dual credit
What,
are only in
what does the,
Yeah, there was something else though.
what does a hybrid, I mean, are you saying, I mean, you're asking us to approve virtual program, but it could, when y'all get into the details of rolling this program out up, are you saying it could be
So-
a hybrid component to it?
No, I'm
Or-
saying we could start it that way,
Uh-huh.
where that would mean that, say, students are doing their English class, their math class at home, but they come to campus for physics and AP US history every day. So they can pick and choose which classes they're going to do from home and which classes they're going to do in person. If they're doing classes in person, they're doing it with all of our students. So if we offer physics third and AP history fourth, they're on campus for third and fourth every single day with all of our other students. It's not a special class.
So if it's virtual only, those kids would never come.
Well, and then they couldn't, if they're in AP, they couldn't do it.
Correct.
They couldn't be a part of it.
That is correct.
Or if they're
Because
trying to do
if
sports.
we're gonna include AP in
You
this,
have to have a hybrid.
it has to be hybrid.
It has to be hybrid. That is correct.
I'm gonna ask this question. Could you set up the program that says if you wanna be in the extracurriculars, you have to be the hybrid?
That's the only way they could do it.
That's the only way you could, because.
Because they're gonna have, they'll have to be in
here on
practice.
campus.
Well,
But
your
more
point
than
is
that,
they're
just
only
one.
on, your point is they're
Correct.
only on campus for their
For
activity.
just their activity.
All their core subjects they're taking at home, but they're on
Unless they're
campus
AP.
for fine arts or whatever.
But, I mean, I'm just asking, do you
Yeah, I
have
think you
that
can-
flexibility in how?
From what we understand, you can set it up however you want.
Okay.
So there's no minimum amount of in-person classes to be a hybrid?
Correct.
It can just be your.
That could be,
activity
that could
class.
be the district's decision.
Mhm.
So, when you talk about
Ingenuity.
Yeah, thank you. It's getting later. Tell me what other, have you looked at other programs? Other than that, I know we already have it in the district, or we already use, pieces of that. Or when, in speaking to other districts, have you talked to them about the program that they're using? Is it a high percentage that's using Edgenuity, or?
Yes. Most, if not all, that I've talked to are using Edgenuity. Some of the bigger districts, let's say Frisco, a lot of them, the big districts are writing their own curriculum. And that's not something that can happen overnight, and it takes a big team of people. And so.
And time.
And time, right. So the districts that are not writing their own curriculum, what I have heard consistently is they're using Edgenuity. There's another one I heard today that's out of Florida that doesn't have 100% TEKS alignment, but they felt like it was a good program. But that was the first time I've heard of that one.
So is Edgenuity a Texas product?
I don't know if it's a Texas product, but it's TEKS aligned.
It's TEKS aligned.
Yes.
Okay. And any concerns? I mean, okay, I guess I would ask, you think back about COVID and the social isolation and everything else that was going on back then, and some of the repercussions even to this day, I believe, with kids, probably adults too in some fashion. But how do we know? I guess we know based on the pace of how they're doing, or that they're having some issues with working on their own, working alone, working, that social isolation thing.
Right. And because we are not, during COVID, everybody had to do it.
Right.
It wasn't a choice.
Right.
Now it's a choice for families that this works best for. And before a student would be enrolled, there'd be a conversation with that family of, here are the qualities that would make a student successful. Do you have transportation? Do you have a place for the student to work? Do they self-advocate? They're expected to get up and get going every single day, all those things. And so having that conversation to try and help them decide, is this a good fit? What I've heard from teachers that are currently working as a virtual teacher is they're doing check-ins with their students every single day. Okay. Edgenuity has the availability to send parents a report an email report every single day to let them know the child's progress throughout the platform. And they have counselors or directors or different titles of people who are checking in with all the teachers, getting lists weekly of who is not staying, who is not where they need to be in the program, who is not performing well on benchmarks and other assignments, and then they're reaching out. And what I heard a lot of them, they're not only are they helping teachers, they're working a lot with parents on parent training on how to be that co-teacher with the virtual teacher.
And this is the Edgenuity staff? Or?
So no, this
people.
is, so that we would have to have staff members that would offer office hours where they could offer tutoring, just checking in with students. Somebody has to also transfer the grades from Edgenuity into our system, and then any extra projects, those have to be graded as well.
So where are those staff members? Are they officing at home? Are they on our campus?
So those decisions haven't all been made yet. What I think will happen is that we would start off with a small number where we would give teachers extra planning periods to be able to manage that from their classroom.
You've had some actually show interest, right?
Yeah, I've had a couple who've
Yeah.
emailed me like, if this passes, like I'd love to do this. So we have some that have already shown interest. You can get to a large enough size, and then if you don't have a space, there are a lot of districts that have teachers who are working from home. And I heard some of the parameters for the staff is they have 10 minutes to reply. If somebody reaches out to them, they have to send a picture of their home office, and so there's things in place there as well.
So how does that possibly offset the cost, of the program and the funding that we get per student? We're obviously, if we're utilizing our own staff, then we're taking away teaching time. And that would mean possibly hiring additional teachers. So where does that fit in the balance?
Well, we're getting the funding for the extra students that enroll, and we are already using Edgenuity. And so it would be a small increase on the Edgenuity. I want to say it was less than $10,000. I don't remember the exact amount for us to get the on-demand tutoring part of it. So, but because we already have that, most of it already built into our budget, the staffing part, right, it would have to make sense, but because I have no idea, would it be 20 students or would it be 100 students? But either way, truthfully, the numbers I heard today where teachers were around about 250, they had about 250 or more students on their roster. So we're not talking, on their virtual roster. So we're not talking like a typical classroom. Some of them had even more if it was electives where they didn't do a lot of instructing because they might have such a wide range. They may have 400 students on their roster that they're just transferring grades in, checking things, and so they didn't teach any in-person classes.
So, go ahead. Oh, I appreciate it. First and foremost, Dr. Jordan, I appreciate you guys looking into this. I appreciate the administration looking into this because I think it plays to the school choice aspect of it. I guess my question would be on the hybrid virtual model, what heartburn or concerns do you have if we were to approve it?
I think right now it's just the unknown of the numbers is where my concern is, and then moving forward with the staffing piece of it. That's really my only concern because we're already using Edgenuity, so we have a pretty good idea of how to operate within that program. And I've talked to so many different districts and heard how well it's working for them that I have no reason to believe it wouldn't work well for us as well.
Is there any district that they're like, oh, wish we wouldn't have done that?
I have not heard that at all.
Okay.
No.
All right.
And I would say, I think, in terms of student learning and student impact, again, it's an option. It's a flexibility piece. Families are going to choose it if it's right for their kids. And I don't know if y'all have seen the webinar yet or not, and I'll share it. I think I may have had it last week for y'all, but the one that Bob Templeton just did, where he talked about the enrollment trends, and about halfway through it, he talks about private school, he talks about charter, but he said where this is all changing is homeschool. I think he gave the number, there's like 620,000 homeschool students in the state of Texas based on what he could find through their research, and that far exceeds private and charter school kids. And so he talked about the microschooling, and this is the new, this really is the way, and because he's been at the homeschool convention for parents for the last 2 years, and they've interviewed families. And it's not a beef on public ed for them. It's more about the flexibility, the ability to be more involved in their students' education. So that micro schooling is becoming the new way of homeschooling. So some of it's homeschooling, and then they have these little micro schools that are popping up. The Texas Sports Academy, it's an elite athlete program. I mean, that one's, they've got a whole website set out now where they go to school for 2.5 hours in the morning, they do school, they have lunch, and then the next 4 hours they're doing their sports skills. I mean, those are the kinds of things that this affords public schools the opportunity to potentially have some of those students enrolled in our district that live here and not choosing some of these other options. And so I think as we've been talking through that, it's pretty fascinating to hear this micro schooling coalition taking off like it is, because they're really getting the best of both worlds. They're getting the flexibility that they need, but their students are also, I mean, any student that can handle that kind of work, and then a schedule, whether it's a fine arts or sports schedule outside, they're going to be able to be high performing students. That's just those are the kind of students that can do it.
So those kids that are spending, let's say, 4 hours a day here or in person or virtual learning or whatever, and then they're doing their outside activity, how are they earning their credits, or do they wind up graduating later than some of the other kids? Because
because their other credits are virtual. I mean, their other credits are Edgenuity, so they're still getting the same amount of credits.
Oh, but they're just not spending the personal time in
They're
class.
not on the seat
Okay.
time in the classroom.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to echo what Rich said. I mean, I just appreciate y'all taking the time to look into this, to do the research, to bring it to us, because, I think it's something I've been harping on about choice in education. And so it's just something I'm inclined to support, because, it doesn't support it because it's not necessarily for my kids. And I kind of don't even really want it to be successful, because I want kids in school. I mean, because that's just my personal preference, But I have to recognize that, people want choice, and public school needs to be more creative in how they compete for children in their district. And so I thank y'all for doing this. It speaks to me, not for my family, but in terms of meeting that, need, I think that's potentially out there. The details matter, but you don't want me planning them.
Take him off that committee.
I'm just going to criticize.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be here to second guess you.
I wasn't on that subcommittee.
There's an opening on.
And another thing I'll tell you is, it's not, if it doesn't work, it's not like we can't adjust it. I mean, you can take it away. I can also see, at the high school level, we got a capacity problem coming.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm in 3-4 years, and I'm kind of interested, does this, what does that look like? Does it help us with that? Does it extend that runway a little bit? I don't know. So,
I can give you one more data point as well. It came from Templeton. 400,000 to 500,000 families are moving to Texas every single year, and the enrollment in public schools was like 90,000, 60,000. It's down to 12,000. And that does not mean that only families without school-age children are moving here, right?
It was an
so they're
increase of-
not choosing public
Right.
school.
So of the 400,000 families that are moving, enrollment in public school from those 400,000 is 12,000 students?
No.
Yes,
So
that's because we've gone from 16,000 to 57,000 in 5 years in virtual and online. That's just virtual and online, and the homeschool's been even larger.
Does it make sense to entertain for at least the first year, or to cap it and say, hey, we need to get our feet under us? So hey, I don't know what the number is, I have no idea, but just to say, hey, listen, anything beyond this, we're going to be scrambling, and maybe it's not as good of an experience as it could be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the one thing I would say. I agree with the choice. I just wrote it's our, the sign over there I keep looking at that says our future is public. We agree, but this is a way to give public school choice, and I hope their voucher program fails is what I hope. So, anyway.
We haven't seen a big impact from that at this point. Where we're seeing the impact is these micro schools, charter schools, private schools, other options, not from the micro
So
school.
listen, I think you're going to do it, if we're going to do it, and I have no doubt this would be the case, we're going to do it the Argyle way, and it's going to be top notch, and it's going to be another thing that we're known for. So my only thought in all this is, there's a lot of information here. There's a lot of options you can do. Is baby steps. Like let's don't go crazy
Absolutely.
the first year or two. Let's figure it out. You know, hey, that's going to be a problem. We're going to have to figure that out, you know, kind of thing.
And what I heard from some districts is they didn't set their cap until they knew they were there. So at some point they said, this is all we can handle. We aren't accepting any more this year. They
I'd
didn't
rather
set it
build
at the
up to it
beginning.
than- yeah.
I think it's, you know, I just don't know what that number is.
Right.
And so,
So
like,
maybe if one of those districts could tell you how many they have now, you know, maybe you say, hey, well, we want to take half of that for your, just,
Well, and
just as a goal.
why did they have a ceiling? Like,
Yeah, what caused the ceiling?
What was the cause of the ceiling? And just finding things out.
right,
like
and the
that.
cause of the ceiling was the number of staff members. And
Yeah.
so they needed to add staff members before they wanted to add any more students.
Right, and are they a destination district that struggles with getting people hired versus Argyle, who we're very, you know, blessed to have a great talent pool that's seeking openings here. So anyway, things like that to look at. Again, Mr. Westrom, not the expert. We trust y'all.
Thank you.
But I think you brought up some great points tonight.
Oh, and
But I do think it also is like we look at preparing our kids, like we want to have college preparedness for our kids here, because a majority of the kids that graduate from Argyle school district go on to college
And sit on a computer and take a class.
Right. So we're going to
exactly
prepare
what
them.
we're talking
We're going to
about.
prepare them for that.
Except you're
So
paying for their
we're
meal
preparing
plan.
them for that. So take your virtual class, do your hybrid, because it's what you're going to do in college. So where you've got 800
Pay you
people
to
in a
rush
chemistry
and
class.
do all those things, and
so-
you're not going to go to class.
So
I do
anyway.
have one other comment, if I
Okay.
could. You talk about the possibility of, I mean, the unknown and not knowing how many teachers we're gonna need and need to add to our staff. I look at the flip side and I look at the people that we have here already. And the need, I'm sure next year for, you know, if you have a grade level that has 6 sections or 7 sections, and then they're going up to a grade level next year, I'm thinking elementary, that only has 5 teachers for 5 sections. You know, I know we can move kids, but obviously we're gonna get more kids. And I don't want this to affect that. I want us to be able to have the flexibility to make sure that we cover the staffing and keep our goal of class sizes low at the elementary level in particular.
Shouldn't
So-
affect the elementary, since this is only open to 9th through 12th as it's proposed now.
Well, I'm just talking about budget-wise.
From FTE standpoint.
Yeah, if you're looking from an FTE standpoint, you know, if
Yeah.
we're spending money on FTEs for secondary like that.
That we
which
don't
I'm gonna-
that we don't sacrifice.
Right,
that we
I
don't
see.
sacrifice the elementary group, because we
Yeah.
worked really hard to get that
For sure.
where we have it this year. And I don't wanna lose that
I agree, yeah,
for
that is
next
a
year. So
priority.
you know, I'm thinking about a cap, I kinda get it. You know, like kinda starting small, see how it affects everything. I don't know, I'm kinda up in the air about that, and that's, you know, up to you guys, but, I mean, I like the idea, I just don't want it to, I don't want one to pay for the other, if that makes any sense, so, just throwing that out there.
Dr. Jordan, how would this affect those electives every year that don't make? Are there situations where, you know, if a certain class doesn't make in a traditional environment, those students, those 5 or 10 students, can take advantage of it in this environment?
Potentially, as long as Edgenuity offers it, and they do offer a wider range. They say like astronomy. We don't offer astronomy in our high school, but they do offer astronomy. So definitely that would be another advantage.
So in a hybrid model, right, where they're there and there's one class that didn't make, to his point, can we offer them, hey, go to the library? So you don't have to leave. Like, you can go to the library and take it virtually and go back with the rest of your day. Again, these are details. You're gonna
Yes, I
figure
mean,
out.
yes, it could be done. It could be done.
I don't really.
It's more
Or you
about,
have an early out.
yeah, and I think the camp,
Might as well give you some of those things.
but the campus I think from a account, you know, who's on campus standpoint, that's because they won't have them on a roster in there, so, you know, so that's the things they'll have to
Details,
work
I'm just
out.
thinking that he's right. I mean, it brings up
Yes.
more opportunities, right? To take more
Absolutely.
things. We heard languages, we heard, you know, so I don't see a drawback, at least to try it. And for me, I would say both. It needs to be virtual and hybrid.
All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve action item 11E for virtual and hybrid programming.
Motion to approve.
Mr. Western, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Rich McDowell with a second.
Thank you, Dr.
We didn't
Jordan.
know. We didn't know. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right.
She knew
Thank you,
better.
Dr.
She
Jordan.
knew, but she knew better. She walked away from the mic.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm out.
Thanks for answering all our questions.
Okay, the last item, I believe, is really just a board item.
It's reading, right?
It's a board item. You get to present it.
Mr. Slayton.
All right.
Secretary, Mr. Slayton. Would you like to read?
I'm sorry?
Would you like to read?
I would love to read for you tonight.
Let's do this.
All right. Are you ready, Mr. President?
Counting down.
Excellent. Okay. Order of election for Argyle Independent School District. An election is hereby ordered to be held on Saturday, May 2nd, 2026 for the purpose of electing 3 members to the Board of Trustees, places 1, place 2, and place 3. The first day to file for a place on the ballot is Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. Applications for a place on the ballot shall be filed by Friday, February 13th, 2026. Early voting by personal appearance will be conducted each weekday during early voting at Denton County Elections Administration, 701 Kimberly Drive, Denton, Texas, 76208. Additional designated locations to be determined by a contract with Denton County Elections beginning on April 20th, 2026 and ending on April 28th, 2026. Hours TBD by Denton County Elections. Applications for ballot by mail can be mailed to Elections Administrator, Denton County Elections Administrator, 701 Kimberly Drive, Denton, Texas, 76208. Applications for ballots by mail must be received no later than the close of business on the 11th day before Election Day. The polling place listed below will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday, May 2nd, 2026 for voting in a general election. Denton County Elections Administrator, 701 Kimberly Drive, Denton, Texas, 76208. Additional locations to be determined by Denton County Elections. Issued this the 20th day of January 2026.
Austin, you said we had a microphone issue. We need that read again. We're good? Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Slayton. All right. I'll entertain a motion to approve action item 11F as presented.
So moved.
All right. Mr. Hawksworth, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. McDowell with the second.
2 times.
Two times making up. Any further discussion? All right. All in favor, raise your hand. Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Okay. So at this time, under the authority of the Texas Government Code 551, Subchapter D, the board will now go into closed session at 8:28 p.m. to discuss 551.074 personnel matters and public officers. When we do return to adjourn for the evening, there will be no action taken. Thank you all for being here. Have a great night.